I'm Nancy Cavey, National ERISA and Individual Disability Attorney. Welcome to Winning Isn't Easy. Before we get started, I've got to give you a legal disclaimer. This podcast is not legal advice. The Florida Bar Association says that I have to say that. And now that I've said it, nothing will ever prevent me from giving you an easy to understand overview of the disability insurance world, the games that carriers play, and what you need to know to get the disability benefits you deserve. So, off we go. Welcome to today's episode where I'm going to dive into a topic that's overlooked. It's applying for a disability insurance policy. Now, whether you're a professional, a business owner, or simply someone who is thinking about applying for disability insurance coverage, this episode is packed with critical information to help you protect your income and your future. And what we're going to be doing today is explore why disability insurance matters, what the application process really involves, and the most common reasons people get denied coverage. You'll learn how to avoid those costly mistakes that could jeopardize your ability to get coverage, not just now, but down the line with other insurers as well. If you're thinking about applying for disability insurance or have already started the process, this is an episode you can't afford to miss because I'm going to talk with you about the mistakes that you can make that I've seen as a disability insurance lawyer when someone is actually trying to apply for their disability insurance benefits and the claim gets denied because of mistakes they made in the disability insurance application process. Got it? So I'm going to talk about three things today. Number one, what are the 6 common reasons that an application for disability insurance coverage is denied by carriers? Number 2, how a disability insurance carrier's refusal to offer you a disability policy impacts your ability to find disability or life insurance in the future. And 3, what are the 3 types of underwriting that is used in issuing an individual disability insurance policy and why it makes a difference to you? All right, let's take a break before we come back with this episode.
Have you been robbed of your peace of mind by your disability insurance carrier? You owe it to yourself to get a copy of Robbed of Your Peace of Mind, which provides you with everything you need to know about the long-term disability claims process. Request your free copy of the book at caveylaw.com today.
Welcome back to Winning Isn't Easy. What are the 6 common reasons that an application for disability insurance coverage is denied by a disability carrier? I want to congratulate you first on making the wise decision to purchase a disability insurance policy. My father was a World War II naval aviator, and he understood firsthand how life can change in an instant. You can be injured, wounded, or even killed. And after the war, he made the prudent choice to get a disability insurance policy, hoping he'd never have to use it. And when he was later diagnosed with leukemia, that decision turned what was really crucial to the financial stability of our family during obviously a very difficult and lengthy time. It's really essential that you understand the importance of providing your insurance agent and the disability insurance carrier with a complete and truthful medical history. Failing to do so can backfire. In fact, it can result in the denial of coverage. It can even impact your ability to obtain coverage in the future, and it can result in the cancellation of your disability insurance policy when you need it most. And I've had that happen to one of my clients in the course of my practice, and when he didn't tell the truth on this application. So I'm going to be using him as an example. So let's talk about the disability insurance coverage application. When you apply for the policy, the agent is going to do a pre-screening process to identify any potential medical issues or risk factors that would lead to the denial of the insurance policy or which might require a rider. You have the legal obligation to answer all these questions accurately, particularly those concerning your medical history. Misrepresentation or omission can lead to an outright denial, difficulties getting coverage elsewhere, and even a rescission of your policy if you file a claim. And I will promise you that's particularly true if you've applied for an individual disability insurance policy. I will tell you that it's not uncommon for these applications to be denied, even for people who consider themselves to be healthy. And worse yet, I have seen many cases where when the person who has an individual disability policy applies for benefits, that the disability carrier does a thorough investigation of the person's medical background to learn of reasons why they might be able to deny the claim because of omissions or even misrepresentations. And it's just not medical conditions. It might be activities that they've engaged in or that they in fact were doing that they denied at the time the policy was issued, which impacts underwriting. Okay, so get out your pencil, your pad. Let's talk about the 6 common reasons that an application for disability insurance coverage is denied. Number 1, you have a pre-existing condition. Obviously, the disability carrier doesn't want to insure you for a pre-existing condition that you are actually treating with at the time you applied for benefits. Number 2, you have an unknown medical condition. In other words, you're having problems, but nobody's got a diagnosis yet. Number 3, you have a pending medical procedure. Of course, the carrier doesn't want to insure you for disability just before you're ready to go into the operating room. Now, number 4, if you're a physician, they're going to potentially do a search of pharmacy records. And if you have written prescriptions for yourself, that will kill any insurance coverage application. Or number 5, your job is too dangerous. Number 6, your hobbies are too dangerous or risky. So let's quickly review each of these. You've got a pre-existing condition. So if you have cancer, diabetes, fibromyalgia, long COVID, chronic or progressive diseases, those are red flags for carriers. And these conditions, unfortunately, significantly increase the likelihood of future disability, making you a high risk. And as a result, carriers may deny coverage entirely or issue a policy rider that excludes a specific medical condition. And in some cases, even mild or managed forms of these illnesses would trigger concern and a denial. Number 2, you have an unknown medical condition. You're experiencing symptoms, but nobody's figured out what you've got. And there's no formal treatment plan. They're going to review this situation and say, most likely, look, this is too unpredictable. We can't tell whether this condition is temporary, permanent, or potentially life-threatening. So until this condition is fully diagnosed and stable, most carriers will decline that application. It's clear that the best course of action is to wait until you actually have a diagnosis and a treatment plan, and then go back to the agent and talk about reapplying for coverage. Number 3, you have an upcoming medical procedure. As I said, if you're scheduled for surgery, you're undergoing medical treatment, you're pregnant, disability carriers are going to deny coverage until you're fully recovered. And in the case of pregnancy, it will be until after childbirth. This protects the carrier from assuming financial liability during a high-risk period when the probability of disability is temporarily increased. If you're a physician and you've written that prescription, well, I will tell you, they're very, very, very concerned about why you're writing this prescription. Are you treating yourself for a condition that could be disabling? Do you have a drug issue? Without a medical chart documenting symptoms, a diagnosis, and a rationale for the medication, this is going to appear to be suspicious or fraudulent. So please don't self-diagnose and don't do hospital corridor hallway consults with your colleagues. I have that a lot. I have to tell my physician clients, go schedule an exam, have a physical exam, have a record. And I know a lot of folks don't like to do that because they don't want to create a malpractice risk. But there are times when, in fact, you need to do this, not only for your health, but that there is proper documentation. So please see a colleague or medical professional for treatment and avoid self-prescribing. Your job is too dangerous. Now, look, we know that there are certain professions that are inherently dangerous or carry a high risk of physical harm. Law enforcement, firefighting, aviation, all of those types of occupations are high risk, and carriers will often decline to offer coverage unless, of course, it's through, for example, the pilots union or through a specialty insurance company that offers insurance for firefighters. Alternatively, they may offer reduced benefits, limited duration of benefits, or offsets. And of course, since most of these high-risk occupations result in injury at work, there might be an offset for workers' comp benefits. There also might be a significant exclusions or premium increases based on the nature of your job. just be clear that you're going to pay a higher premium than the average person on the street. Your hobbies are too dangerous or risky. Just as your occupation matters, your recreational activities matter. So if you participate in high-risk activities like heli-skiing, scuba diving, amateur aviation, you race motorcycles, boats, or cars, I will tell you that most insurance carriers are going to exclude coverage from injuries resulting from any of these activities, even assuming they offer you a policy. They may actually also say, look, if you engage in these activities, X, Y, or Z, no coverage. And so you just have to decide whether you are going to give up or discontinue these hobbies or accept limited coverage. And again, this is a personal decision, but you do need to understand that not only the nature of your work activities, but your hobbies can create specific risks that carriers simply don't want to deal with on a risk basis. My strong suggestion is that before you apply for disability insurance, you work closely with an experienced agent who can pre-screen your medical history, your occupation, and your lifestyle. This proactive approach will help match you with the right carrier and improves your chances of approval. And I want you to remember that being denied coverage can significantly impact your ability to get future disability or even life insurance. Why? Because one of the questions on the application is, have you been denied coverage? And if you lie and they find out about it and you subsequently file a claim, your claim is going to be denied and the policy will be rescinded and your premium will be refunded and you're sitting there with no coverage. I think that not only consulting with a knowledgeable agent, but if you are a high wage earner, you should be consulting with a skilled disability insurance attorney. You want to take that coverage and quote that you get from the disability agent and have a disability attorney review it. Why? Because many times high professionals have multiple policies, and there are all sorts of terms in these policies that interact with each other. Some policies will say, if you have another individual disability insurance policy, we won't pay any benefits. Others will say, if you have an ERISA disability policy and an IDI policy, individual disability policy, only one of these will pay. Or it might say there's an offset. So you might not understand that buying one policy may be absolutely worthless because it's offset by the other policy that you have. So don't let agents sell you stuff without getting all of your disability policies and having an experienced ERISA disability, IDI disability attorney look at these to be able to explain to you, well, this policy says this, that policy says something else, and this is how they interact. And now you can make an intelligent decision about whether you want a disability policy and the nature of that policy and the interaction. Got it? Let's take a break.